The new rule changes that has everybody talking are these right here, and me myself, I can't even believe the college football commissioners are even considering putting these in. The fourth rule they're trying to implement is straight up insane. Have you ever heard the phrase, if it isn't broke, then don't fix it? Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about the sport of college football. Nothing, and let me repeat this, nothing is broken or messed up about college football whatsoever. However, the people that run the sport, they tend to think otherwise. The commissioners of college football are considering not one, not two, not three, but 4 changes to shorten the game. Yes, that is right, you heard me correctly. They want to shorten the game. To say I absolutely hate this, that would be an understatement. There's a lot that goes into it though, and it's not quite as simple as they want to change things, and we're going to talk all about that. Also in today's video, we got to talk about some other minor topics, including the ongoing quarterback battles at some of the biggest schools out there. Most notably, and I want your guys' opinions and thoughts down below, who's going to be the starter for Georgia next year, Ohio State and Alabama. I find that really interesting, and also we got to talk about some of the early betting favorites that have already came out. It's going to be a good one. I'm so excited to finally talk about some college football news, and for those of you that don't know, I'm coming off of surgery, so if I do sound a little weird, a little funky, that's why. All right, Matt, blah, 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 should have grabbed up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, still recovering from surgery and some complications that happened after surgery, so if I don't sound as energetic and I'm fumbling my words here and there, that's why. I do apologize for that. However, the show must go on, and on the past couple of videos, you guys, you've left so many great comments, and I just want to say thank you. It really means a lot to me. I can't thank you guys enough. This community we've built on this channel, it's so amazing and so special. Let's get into the football stuff though, and first things first, I didn't even know the betting odds can come out this early, but I guess I learn something new every single day. So yeah, like I just said, the betting odds, they're already out for some of the big time games. And one of the more notable ones that had a lot of people talking is that Colorado, we all know they got the new head coach Deion Sanders. Everybody's hyping them up. Well, they're a 17.5 point underdog against TCU. I don't see anything wrong with that, but a lot of people think TCU's favored by too much. And also, Alabama against Texas at home at Bryant-Denny Stadium, they're only favored by 8 points. Remember, Alabama was favored by 20 points in Texas last year. I get Alabama doesn't have Bryce Young coming back, but still, that kind of shocks me. Tennessee's favored by a touchdown against Florida. Ohio State, obviously, they're favored against Notre Dame, and Texas is favored against Oklahoma. And of course, Georgia's favored against Tennessee, but the interesting one out of all these to me is this last one. Michigan is favored to beat Ohio State again. I guess I shouldn't be shocked by that because I got JJ McCarthy coming back, the running back coming back, but still, I mean, most people, when you think of Ohio State and Michigan in the past 10 years, everyone's like, oh yeah, Ohio State, they're the favorite. But now, at least according to these betting odds, Michigan's the favorite. And I'm not going to talk about these games too much. The reason for that is because it's way too early. We just got into the offseason, so I'm not going to dive deep into detail. But I will say this, I found it intriguing that these betting lines have already came out. I'll tell you this though, and we got to get a move on. That TCU-Colorado matchup is so fascinating because can you imagine the hype that's going to be surrounding Colorado if they pull off that upset? The hype there is already through the roof, and this team won. I'm going to repeat this, one game in the prior season. I think I speak for everybody when I say this. Next year, this up-and-coming college football season is going to be one of the most entertaining seasons of all time. Moving along here to our second topic, here are some of the big quarterback battles that are ongoing in spring. Believe it or not, it's about to be spring, and these battles, they're about to heat up. To start things off, we got the three-way battle between Carson Beck, Brock Vandagriff, and Gunnar Stockton. I mean this when I say it. If I'm a Georgia fan, I'm feeling so good about this because you can't go wrong with any of these three guys. And that is very rare to say because, for example, when Alabama had Jalen Hurts and Tua, you could say, oh yeah, it's 1A, 1B, both of the guys are really good. But Georgia has 3 really good quarterbacks. Now, are all 3 of these guys going to pan out and have lustful college football careers? Absolutely not, but I believe they have the potential to. To make a really long story short, whoever wins this Georgia quarterback battle competition, whatever you want to call it, you should know up front they're really good because they beat out 2 other great guys. If I'm a Georgia fan, if I had to choose out of these 3 guys, although I like them all, I would pick Carson Beck right now. I think Carson Beck is a guy you can plug in right away and he's not going to miss a beat. I don't want to take anything away from Vandagriff and Gunnar Stockton, but Carson Beck, I'm just more comfortable with him right now. And I also do believe as to where it stands, he is winning the battle slightly. Going down here to Ohio State, you got Devin Brown versus Kyle McCord, and from what I've heard, Kyle McCord, he's going to win the job. Or he's not going to win the job, but he's projected to win the job. I've heard a lot of great things about him. I don't think there's too much to say about the Ohio State quarterback battle besides the fact that it's going to be hard to replace CJ Stroud. Being the starting quarterback for Ohio State, it is one of the toughest things ever because they're known for having great quarterback play. If you're not performing as one of the best, at bare minimum, top 15 quarterbacks in the country, the fans, they're going to boo you and want you benched. That's how it is, though. That's the standard at Ohio State. Going on down here, here's one that intrigues me so much, and it's going to be really interesting and really debatable. At Ole Miss, you got Jackson Dart coming back, Spencer Sanders coming in, and Walker Howard coming in. I said it when it happened, I will continue to say it. I don't like and I don't understand this move by Lane Kiffin. He brought in Jackson Dart last season and has hyped him up all throughout this season. Jackson Dart had a great season, and yet he was recruiting other quarterbacks. Me personally, if I'm in the shoes of Jackson Dart, I would have left then and there when Lane Kiffin recruited Walker Howard in. Then, right after he got Walker Howard, he brought in Spencer Sanders. As a starting quarterback, if my head coach brings in two other quarterbacks, that tells me, number one, he doesn't believe in me, and number two, he doesn't really care to have me there. Because he not only brought in one guy to replace me, he brought in two. And it's the same thing for Walker Howard. He came in expecting to battle Jackson Dart for the job, and then about a week later, Lane Kiffin brings in Spencer Sanders, a transfer from Oklahoma State. Like, what? At that point, if I'm Walker Howard, I'm like, dang, coach, I thought you wanted me to be your new guy. I have a hard time believing that Walker Howard, the former LSU quarterback, is going to beat out Jackson Dart and Spencer Sanders for this starting job. I think it's a two-man race, but obviously it isn't because Walker Howard wouldn't have transferred there if he didn't think he had a shot. As most of you know, if you don't know, Spencer Sanders, he played at Oklahoma State for what feels like 4 years. Or maybe it was 4 years. He's been playing college football for a long time. I wouldn't exactly say he had a great career at Oklahoma State, but it definitely had its ups and downs. I'll show you his numbers right here. In 2021, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and in 2022, 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. His numbers every single season tell you the story perfectly. He's a slightly above average quarterback. Can be good at times, but also can be bad. On the flip side for Jackson Dart, I do believe he is better than Spencer Sanders. 3,000 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 11 INTs, and he had also 600 rushing yards on the ground. Keep your eyes on that Ole Miss quarterback competition. I didn't even think there was a need to bring in two other transfer guys to replace Jackson Dart, but hey, I guess Lane Kiffin thinks differently. As you can see here, they got Nebraska on this list. As to why they have Nebraska on this list, I don't know. Nebraska is a terrible program and a terrible football team, so we're not going to talk about the quarterback battle. Going on down here, last but not least, saves the best for last, we got Alabama. This is where things get intriguing because you see right here, most people think it's going to be Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson, but I also think there's a third guy that could win this job, and he goes by the name of Eli Holston. I don't think Eli Holston has a great shot or even a decent shot of winning the job, but just watch out for him. He's a new recruit coming in, and I've watched a lot of his high school film, and the dude can play. Looks extremely polished. Unfortunately, he hasn't been at Bama too long, and Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, they've been there a little longer, so I do think they have the slight edge. So for the sake of this video, let's just narrow it down to these two. Well, obviously, you don't gotta be a rocket scientist to figure out Jalen Milroe cannot throw a football. I'm not saying he can't improve on it and he can't work on it because we've seen Jalen Hurts do that at the NFL level, but as to where it stands today, Jalen Milroe, he's just not a guy that can win a game through the air. The great side of Jalen Milroe is he's built like Derrick Henry and he can run. But I don't think that's going to work out too great because it's easy to stop him. You put 8 in the box and make him throw these deep balls like Texas A&M did, and you saw what happened. As to where it stands today, and all this can change within a week or two, a month or two, I got Ty Simpson as my front runner. For my Bama fans out there, the best comparison I can give you is either Mac Jones or AJ McCarron. That's what Ty Simpson reminds me of. Ty Simpson has a great size and a great arm, and that's a recipe for success. But now finally moving on to the main topic, the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video, we gotta talk about this. I'm just going to label it as insane changes that could potentially be coming to college football. And those changes are to shorten the game, and yeah, let's just get straight into it. Whoa, hold on. I know exactly what you're sitting there saying because I was saying the same thing myself. Yo, why in the crap would we try to shorten the game? That is the most valid question you can ask because as a diehard college football fan myself, I don't want to shorten the game. If anything, I want to make it longer. This isn't the NBA or the MLB. We only get 12 games a season. I know there is postseason and whatnot, but I'm talking about the regular season. There's only 12 games. I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself. On Saturdays, those 3 hours or 3.5 hours where my favorite team plays, I cherish that like nothing else. Saturdays during the college football season are some of the best days of my life, and it's what I look forward to the most. And I like to go out on a limb here and say a lot of people are in the same boat as me on that. With that being said though, the reason they want to shorten the games is because they want to reduce plays for both safety and game length reasons. And they are looking at doing this by 4 different outcomes. Or not outcomes, my bad, but different scenarios. Scenario number 1 is they're going to prohibit consecutive timeouts. For example, you can't ice the kickers. Scenario number 2 is no longer extending a first or third quarter for an untimed down if the quarter ends on a defensive penalty. What would happen is, and I'll show you in parentheses right here, the down would be clocked starting the next quarter. The first 2 I showed you, it's not really a big deal, and that's not what's got everybody worked up. The new rule changes that has everybody talking are these right here, and me myself, I can't even believe the college football commissioners are even considering putting these in. Scenario number 3 is the clock will continue to run after offense gains a first down, except inside of 2.5 minutes. In other terms, the third scenario is NFL rules, which even me myself, I don't really like, but I guess I could understand that one. The fourth rule they're trying to implement is straight up insane. In a more controversial fourth proposal, the clock will continue to run after an incomplete pass once the ball is spotted for play. I want y'all to imagine that for a second. You throw an incompletion and the clock is going to run. Not only does that not seem right, but it isn't right. Those are the rule changes, and they're really talking about and considering putting these in. How soon would these go into effect? Well, it would happen as soon as this up-and-coming season. And I gotta be honest with y'all, I kind of thought this was a joke and it was all jibber jabber and nothing was gonna come out of it. But according to officials, some of this is expected, at least a portion of it, to pass. Going into more detail here, they did a study and they found out that if they did the NFL rules at the college level, they would have eliminated about 7 to 9 plays per game, which on a grand scheme of things, I guess that is kind of a big number. 7 to 9 plays per game doesn't seem like a lot, but when you add that up over a 12, 13, 14 game season, that's over 100 plays. Going into even more detail, it's also being stated that the game length, it's a problem, or at least it's a problem to the commissioners and whatnot. I don't think it's a problem whatsoever. If it was up to me, it'd be football every single day, all day, every day, and obviously I know you can't do that, but you get what I'm saying. From an entertainment standpoint, I don't think it's a problem. I'm going to show you a graph right here, year by year. Here's the average game duration of college football games. As you can see, in the past 3 years, it's at an all-time high. In 2020, 3 hours and 21 minutes. In 2021, 3 hours and 18 minutes. Recently, 2022, back up to 3 hours and 21 minutes. To put that into comparison, the average game duration of an NFL game is 3 hours and 10 minutes. But you also got to remember this. College halftimes are 20 minutes and NFL halftimes are 12 minutes. So once you take off those 8 minutes, there's not that big of a difference, or really a difference at all. And the last nerdy stat I'm going to bring up, the NFL averages about 155 plays per game, while college averages 180. So I guess you could try to bring up the argument and say, hey, more plays, more injuries. And if we run the clock after first downs, there's going to be less plays, which equals less injuries. I get that. In conclusion, where do I stand on this? I don't have a problem with any of the rules except for that fourth rule talking about running the clock after incomplete passes. That is just straight up stupid, and whoever even came up with that idea needs to be fired. Although I don't have a problem with the NFL rules or whatnot, I don't see why we need to implicate it, because college football, it's fine. Okay, the average duration of a game is 3 hours and 21 minutes. Who cares? In my humble opinion, this is just a bunch of rich commissioners that have nothing better else to do. They're just trying to fix something that isn't broke. Reminds me a lot of a dad at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning going to Lowe's or Home Depot. Dads on Saturday mornings just start fixing stuff around the house that don't even need to be fixed. And I'm not gonna lie, I fall victim to it myself. I do it. I'll sometimes look around the house, just try to fix something because I'm bored and need something to do, and I wind up trying to fix it and I make it worse. It's definitely an intriguing conversation. Let me know your thoughts down below, but roll with me.